Howdy, all Muglax Lives. I think it's time to play. Ooh, stuck on my bike. Little. Some days die. Ooh, I am thirsty. Uh. Huh. I don't have any drink with me. Well, I'm also out of the gas. Gas. You might as well just give me all this. I'm gonna head back home and get some liquid. I can't believe I headed out with nothing to drink. I feel like I must have been headed home, right? Right? Where my dang it. I was hoping I had that next point. Like 1 point away, right? I should try and get that today, maybe. We'll head into one of these places and try and knock it down. This place where it hates me. Every time I come by this building area here, it's always like a big ugh. Something about those two buildings. Whoa, did you see all those trees just vanish? I can barely move now I picked up all that stuff. Let's see. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to really watch anything since last time. I don't have a D&D story because nobody was here this week. So we didn't play D&D, we haven't played Final Fantasy, nothing. Just working. Yeah, I nothing. I played a little bit of Final Fantasy on Tuesday, and honestly, by the time I get done at night from work, I've just been going to bed and reading. I've been enjoying the Tower of Power book series. I just finished 5 books in that series. It was lit RPG because, man, that is all I can manage to read. I swear, that's it. Is lit RPG. I am now officially, I think, reading Brandon Sanderson, um, which is mildly shameful because he's my favorite author. He had a new book in his biggest series came out last year in November, and I still haven't read it. That's shameful. I should have read that thing a long time ago. Um, so I have started over on book 1. I don't know how many books are in that series exactly at this point. It He's got like full size books, and then he's got smaller books that he calls novellas. I know novellas are a thing, but his novellas are quite lengthy, which makes them books. And okay, I think that's my drink right there. So all right, let's go over here and we'll just explore a place in town today while we're here. See if we can't get that last point, although I'm like still recovering So I guess that's why I haven't made the next point yet, because I died too many times to... That bear killed me. I think a couple of zombies got me too while I was out. Oh, you know what? I know my bed is up there, but I better throw it on a bedroll. So, yeah, it was a pretty good series, the Tower of Power. So far, it's so lit RPGs kind of fall into a couple of genres, really. Um, Genre one, really? I can't believe that I have looted this place this recently. Yeah, I didn't think so. So genre one is it's a story about people playing video games. Usually it's some kind of full immersion VR thing, and then the other form is usually three forms. I'll say there's three forms that I've read. Full immersion, people playing a game, and then there's the version where a game system is imposed on people, like some kind of galactic control system, and then the last one is the person, and this is actually an anime genre called Izakaya, or something like that. And that is a person is pulled into another world that works like a game. I think Isekai is just you're pulled into another world. There's not necessarily a game involved, but an Isekai style um, game world where like Tower Power is the third kind. Uh, the the uh, dude got hit by a truck and died, and so um, he as he's dying sees a person um, named Oxalus, I think, and Oxalus says he needs people for an experiment that he's conducting, and that if the guy would rather not die, or no, if the guy would rather not go into the light, which Oxalus had no idea what happens once you go into the light, then he could send him to uh, a world that he controls, and the guy could attempt to live there. And so he chooses option two, and so he goes to the other world, and so it's a game world situation, and so he meets a couple of half elves, and like as soon as he goes through, and then ends up teamed up with them. I was looking for buzzards. Thought there might be buzzards out here somewhere. Um, and And so yeah, so then the game world part is they take a piece of his soul and they combine it with an AI, and so when he levels up, he talks to this little AI consciousness person, and she gives him his options or answers some minor questions about what's going on, and lets him level up with his new skills. And so it's pretty good. I've read a lot of these. And this has been one of the better ones that I've read, so that is a good plus. Um, they he so they explain to him that there aren't nations, there are guilds, like game guilds, and so if once you reach level 5, you can petition to join a guild to guild people, and the area that he came to is pretty rural, and so not a lot of guilds operate in the area. And there happened to be two guild recruiters, and the he become friends with the two half elves, but it's like a lot of fantasy. Half elves are looked down upon because they're not elves and they're not human, and so they knew one of the guilds would not take them because it's run by elves. So they went to the other guild, and they attempted to join that guild, and um, the recruiter said that um, they had to clear the dungeon, everything but the boss room. And so they cleared all the way down to the boss room, and the guild recruiter said that they would clear the dungeon. Um, Let me try that again. They not clear the dungeon. They would loot the dungeon after they were done, and so just to leave everything where it laid, because you can't. I don't think you get the good loot while you're fighting your way through, so it's not like there'd be a lot of upgrades necessarily. It was just the stuff that you collect and then sell, like common swords and ores. Ores comes up as something in these dungeons a lot in this book series. Um, and so, um, so they get all the way down to the bottom, and there's a doorway, and she says that the guild recruiter says that if they pull the lever, they can go through, and the guy's like, but that's the boss's room. And she says, no, it's the entryway. There's two rooms. The deeper one is the boss, but there's a chamber before the boss where the like lieutenants or whatever are, and so you need to clear those, and then we'll talk about how well you did. And so they pull the lever, they go in the room, there's nothing in the room, they turn to ask her what's going on, and she seals the door shut, sealing them in to die, because they don't recruit people, um, unless they're super special. And so she was just doing this to get some loot, and then to get rid of potential future competition. And so they're locked in the boss's room. They fight the boss. They kill the boss because the dude is playing it like he's a thinker. And so he likes to plan out things. And so when they find out what the boss is, he plans out a way for them to attack it. And because while you do get abilities and experience and stuff, it's still like, real life kind of thing. And so even if a creature is like, there's hit points, but you get stabbed in the head, you're stabbed in the head. And so that's what they end up doing is getting the Manticore into a position where the rogue type character can get on its back and stab it in its skull. And so they manage to kill it anyways. And when they open the box, the loot, the treasure chest that drops, it included some really good items and a guildstone, which is super, super rare because, it's a book. And we don't do stories about people who just get the regular stuff and then die. And so as they're looking around the room trying to figure out how to get out, they find the door that is used to repopulate the dungeon. And so they're exploring that, trying to see if that will get them out. And as they are trying to find their way out of that, the dude, the main character, Morgan is his name, he punches the door. And when he does, it opens. Now everybody else had hit it and beat on it, and it didn't react to anybody's weapons, including Morgan's, I believe. But it did react to his naked touch, because it turns out that the dude who stopped him from going to the afterlife is actually his father. And so his DNA matches the DNA lock on the door and open the door. And the door leads to the I thought there was stuff in here. Leads to the control center for the dungeon and the woman who runs the world. Now his father created it, but she runs it for his father. And so interesting. The ladder was holding it up. Go figure. And so she's like, "You're not supposed to be here." And she's like, "All right, I'll get you out of the dungeon, but I'm gonna erase your memories." And so she does. So they don't remember how they got out of the dungeon or meeting her or anything like that. And so then they, oh man, I didn't get on top of the roof. I wanted to see if there was another thing up higher. I didn't see a stairway in here. How about this stairway? Let's see what's back here. And so anyways, so from there she places them on the edge of a volcano. I feel like I already told this story, but and they use the Hearthstone, as it was called, to create a guild hall. and then they started their own guild. So they could be nice. And then, strangely enough, the book series is not about that. I thought it was going to be about building up their guild and trying to make the world a better place, which is what they talked about. And then, nope, nope. It turned into a different kind of story. Um, so then after that, they create their guild, and the second book. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. The second book was a goblin horde is invading, and so they uh nope, dang it. I thought maybe I could catch that. I did not. A goblin horde is invading, and it's going to destroy all the towns in the area, and so they have to put together defenses to fight back against that. And there's a little story in there about how the king of the goblins and the goblins themselves were an alien race that attacked an Earth from the multiverse in this book series and wiped out everyone on Earth. And so the Oxalis dude, he's got a different name. His name is like Heart of the Mountain is his actual name. Um, so, but he took them, and instead of wiping them out, he put them on this world as goblins, and kept the leader in stasis for several generations. And then when he released him as a basic goblin, and so he worked his way up and became the Goblin King, which is the only way a goblin army can form. And so they had to fight him, and um, so that was the second book. And then the third book takes place like 2.5 years after that. And the man, I should have brought my bike over here. I guess I could like uh dang it, my gun is full. Here, one glue. We'll get rid of one glue. Oh, I didn't need to. I'm not. Try this. Let me move a little faster, maybe. Um, so in the third book, they ooh, there are 5 books. I read 5 books. What happened to the third book? I'm gonna say that in the third book, they entered a tournament, and um, the tournament was to choose teams of people who were going to join these really big guilds in an attempt to climb the Tower of Power. Now, the Tower of Power is like the thing, and no one ever returns after a certain level of the Tower of Power. I'm just going to call it the Tower from now on. And so, no one knows what happens after you cross over to floor 4 because no one's ever returned. So, they are putting together a team, a raid, I guess, not a team, which raid is usually several teams. And so that's the plan. They're going to get several teams to go together and attack the tower. And so there's a little tournament, and it's broken into like 3 parts. There's like a team. How does that work? Team versus team, and then pair of teams versus dungeon, and then one-on-one combat. Um, because first they want to see what teams are. Nope, you know what? It's team versus dungeon first. They had to go into a dungeon by themselves. And so they did that. They cleared their dungeon, but they took the longest time doing it. However, they didn't buy the guide to tell you how to get through the dungeon, so they got points for, planning. And so then then there was the man. I think it was a dungeon, a hunt. So then they had to be paired up with another team, and of course they were paired up with the team that tried to kill them in the first book by locking them in that dungeon, and they got sent to kill a water elemental, I think. And so when they got there, they fought the water elemental. They almost died, of course, because I mean it's a story. Everybody almost dies in the story all the time. And they realized that there was a watcher from the big guilds who was watching what they do, and um, the team that tried to kill them before. The team that tried to kill them before didn't help and tried to let the monster kill them off, even though they were higher level people. And so they didn't get selected to continue on after that. And so the main group, though, the Morgan's team, they got selected to continue on. And then it was one-on-one combat, and so Morgan's team got knocked out. Morgan's team was not there to win the tournament. Morgan's team was there to try and get some um, prizes for doing well in the tournament. And after after the tournament was over and they awarded the prize to the best team, they also picked Morgan's team amongst the teams to go into the tower, because they were looking for not necessarily high-level adventurers to join them. They were looking for people who would be a good addition, people who could learn, people who were good at planning, that kind of stuff. And so Morgan's team fit the willing to learn, good at planning, you know. And so then there must have been 2 books in the tower itself. And so book 1 must have been like the first couple of floors. So they introduce I feel like she was introduced way before, and the dude totally stole the name, but there's a giant insect ship named the Moira. And the Moira, which is the name of a giant insect ship on another TV show that I watch. The Moira, it was super damaged and nearly died. And so the world, while it's being used to test people to see if they can be soldiers in the ongoing universal galactic war that's happening, is also being used to heal Moira. And so Moira contacts Morgan because he is, the child of the dude that she's bonded to. And I could really use some wandering around super zombies at the moment so I could get some more XP. Not sure that helped. And so they make it through the first floor, and I think at the end of the first floor, one of the things that you can do is this trial. Only it's an individualized trial, and so he opts to he volunteers to be one of the people they send in. You have to at least 5 people have to complete it, and so he is one of the people that attempts it. And while he's in there, he learns what's going on, and he learns that what the deal is that they have chaos and order. They haven't explained that exactly yet. But there's 2 groups, chaos and order, and they are conquering the multiverses, and Oxalis is standing against them, and he doesn't have enough soldiers who are spirit somethings. I don't remember what the term they used was. And so they were looking for people who could become these spirit soldiers. And so the trick is that you have to be able to combine your body's spirit and soul as a single being, because people could fairly easily reach spirit, which is like willpower, and spirit and body were easy to combine. Why won't you place down this wood block? I guess it's because it's touching that sign? I guess in my mind that sign was just decoration. And so it almost killed him anyways, the trial, and the ship woke up enough to contact him, and the ship tried to or the ship helped him, and anyways, and so he made it through the trial. They made 5 of the people live through the trial. Some people died. That's one of the things that's reoccurring in the books, is that characters die off. And so, anyways, they made it through in that book, and then book 5, some of the chaos alien people. Isn't there usually like a I felt like this was the one where there's a water tank. Or I guess that was the gas place, right? Because I am not seeing. Did somebody make it through a door? I can shoot, because I need a little bit more XP. And so, so they're working their way through the tower, but now these bad guys have made it. Oh, you know what? That totally was a open up kind of door. And yeah, so it was pretty cool. He does some cool stuff in there. Book 5, they get to the. They don't get to the end. They get to. Hey, I can make hollow point ammunition for a gun I don't use now. They have to fight the aliens off. I guess technically there's more than just those aliens. There's lots of aliens. The Razin or something like that. And they, because they're not part of the system, they don't get rewards for it. They don't get a treasure. They don't get experience. And so because the tower's guardian couldn't have fought them off without their help. He offers them a big reward, and they can go out of the tower. Because no one was supposed to know what was happening in the tower because they didn't want to corrupt the experiment. Um, and so, uh, but they let them go because they thought the experiment wasn't working, and maybe this change would bring more people in line to be spirit warriors, spirit whatevers. I don't remember what the term they used for that was. Spirit something. Spirit soldiers, maybe. So Morgan did become a spirit soldier in the book. He also did this thing. Was kind of weird, where he, using his powers, developed a plant that became a symbiote with him. And in the last book, he just let the plant eat all of his body. And so I thought that was a thing to pick up. That turned out, oh man. I think I touched a spike there and killed myself. But yeah, then that was it. The book was over. They went back home and the book was over. And I was like, oh man, there's not another book out yet. I wasn't ready for it to be done. I was really enjoying it. There was another one I really liked too that only had like 2 books in the series. The 3rd book doesn't come out till like September. So when I finished that one, I thought, yeah, it's time to get back to Sanderson. And so I am now reading Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings, which is an excellent book series, my favorite. And I've talked many times that first book there, Way of Kings, has got one of my favorite moments in all of fiction. So it's nice to be rereading it. Yeah, there's like, he did this thing where there's a big book, like 1,200 pages, and then there's a small book, like 300 pages, and then there's a big book, like 1,400 pages, and then there's a small book, like 400 pages, and then there's a big book, the biggest book you can have, and then there's a small book, which I have not read yet, so I don't know how many pages are in it, and then another big book, which I have not read. So I have 2 new books of his I have not read, and they've both been out for like a year. Not a year, half a year. And I don't know why I let it go so long. Well, I do. I just couldn't stop reading Lit RPG, but I decided to take a break, go back to Sanderson. So, all right. I thought maybe I could get to that last point today, but nighttime here I think has made it difficult and killed me off. So maybe next time I'll get to Steel. That would be awesome. And so with that, be bearing the small things, lean to the light, and I will talk to you later.